Hey everyone and welcome. In this video that touches on a story from yesterday about the poor illegal immigrant that died and washed up on a French beach after failing to get to England. We see that the media company pushing for sympathy based on him being a child is either a fabrication by the media or more proof that the media are incompetent as truth tellers, or it could well be that the French are trying to shame us into taking the illegals. You decide on this one, everyone, and tell the nation what you think about the current state of our politics.
And I do believe that we have rotten politics, and I'm not using that as an exaggeration.
She's right though, isn't she? We have a lot of issues. The media, in my opinion, being a very big part of that. But we're still in the bloody EU, aren't we? And tell them.
Because his basic promise was, get Brexit done!
So go on, Tories, I dare you, cowards. Right, normally I wouldn't name and shame the journalist that's done this. But this article is written by the same journalist. Journo. I can't do it anymore. I can't keep calling them that. Activist. That's what she is. Yesterday wrote this headline. You ready? Channel crossing. 16-year-old Sudanese boy washed up on French beach after drowning trying to reach the UK. Labour accuses government of lacking in compassion and competence after Priti Patel blames death on criminal gangs. A 16-year-old Sudanese boy was drowned in the English Channel after a makeshift boat capsized while trying to reach the UK. This is the same journalist as well that put this video out. You ready? Should have been violins playing, shouldn't it? Playing for the sympathy card. Now, what's this activist called then? Let's have a look. Well, Lizzie Dearden, who is the Independent's Home Affairs correspondent. Now, the reason I'm highlighting this is because this story is still up on the Independent. Still not edited to correct it. They haven't done anything. They also framed the age as a fact. You see that? The evidence in his pocket said 28. But anyway, let's get into today's news regarding this, shall we? It's titled, Channel Crossing Sudanese Migrant Who Drowned Trying to Reach UK Named as Abdul Fattah Hamdallah. Exclusive, drowning victim had been living in Calais jungle for 2 months before fatal crossing attempts. This is a tragedy. No one wants people to die, do they? But it is expected, is it not? It's the Channel. It's a very dangerous crossing at the best of times, especially on makeshift boats. Now, I don't blame the illegals, to be honest. Do you? Who wouldn't want to get to somewhere like here if you could get instant rights as soon as you did? Because I would. The ones I truly blame for all of this is the European governments for facilitating it and the EU for starting this influx of people. Let's not forget the amount of people that have died so far trying to get from North Africa to Europe itself. They wash over this number, but I'm not too sure if you know, but I'm sure it's over 10,000 people have died just trying that journey alone. Yet we're the ones that are lacking in compassion and competence, is it? Okay, behave yourself. But anyway, I digress. Let's continue. The Sudanese migrant who drowned trying to cross the English Channel has been named as Abdul Fattah Hamdallah. A French official confirmed his identity to the Independent amid an investigation into his death. His last Facebook post, made on the 17th of June, was a photograph of himself and a friend with the caption, "We walk on the palm of fate and do not know what is written." Remember that, everyone. Facebook, which equals either a smartphone or a laptop or a PC, does it not? Philippe Sabatier, Boulogne-sur-Mer deputy public prosecutor, I probably slaughtered that, but I don't care, said a travel document being carried by Mr. Hamdallah gave his age as 28. There you go, 28 years old. Should we take a look at his picture he's posted, shall we? A few things have come up there. A number of things have come up there. Does he look 1, young, 2, homeless, 3, destitute, or 4, traumatised? No, he does not. But let's read this as Ass Rags breakdown, shall we? His friend who survived when their small dinghy capsized arrives, told rescuers he was 16. That's because, in my opinion, the NGOs are coaching them on how to beat our system. How are we not investigating them all for being part of this smuggling ring? Does their involvement break the law too? Aid and abet, etc, etc? Because I believe it does. Mr. Sabatier said the pair had been living in the Calais jungle camp for 2 months before attempting the crossing, but that investigators had not yet pieced together their journey to France. I don't know if he applied for asylum with British authorities, but he appears to have done so with French authorities. And there you have it then. So he's applied for asylum with the French. I assume he got rejected then. The Independent understands that Mr. Hamdallah, who was known by the nickname Waddi, that's probably wrong, had not lodged an asylum claim or been referred for settlement in the UK. But he was trying to break in then. He and a friend had stolen an inflatable boat from a shop in Sandgate, so he's a criminal, then taken shovels from a beachside chalet, same again, criminal, to use as oars. Not only did he want to break into our country, he wanted to do it after thieving in France and leaving the country to escape justice. Tell me again how this is future benefit to the UK? Anyone? Thought not. The vessel was a small dinghy that can be purchased in supermarkets, officials said, and inflated by mouth. Mr. Sabatier said the survivor told officials one of the shovels had punctured the boat and caused them to fall into the sea. So they stabbed their own boat then. Okay. Mr. Hamdallah's friend managed to reach the shore, suffering from hypothermia, and alerted those authorities shortly after 1 a.m. on Wednesday. So not only have they tried to get here illegally, they've tried to do it at night. How insane do you have to be to try and take the channel at night? It's ridiculous, isn't it? Makes you wonder how many are making it that we're not noticing. Have you noticed them bringing anyone in at night? Because they don't, do they? They go home for the night and then our shores are open. Great. He said that they capsized and his companion must still be in the water. He said. It's a strange way of putting it, isn't it? He said. Does that mean that the paper don't believe that they actually capsized? Very strange way of putting it, that, isn't it? He said they capsized. Just he said. And his companion must still be in the water, said a statement from the Maritime Prefecture for the channel. He also warned that his companion could not swim. Wow. Seriously insane to try the channel if you can't swim. Not only to try the channel, but to do it on a inflatable by mouth dinghy with shovels at night. Sorry, are we all surprised that this has happened then? A sea search was carried out using boats and a Belgian Air Force helicopter, but was called off around 4:30 when nothing was found. Authorities were alerted to the discovery of the body at 8 a.m. and official announcements by French authorities originally said he was 16. So it was the French that lied, obviously to shame us into taking more. Answer to you, France, not a chance. This is on you, not us. He was there, not here. If his blood is on anyone's hands, it's on the EU and you, the French. We pay you to stop them even attempting it. You are inept and complacent, in my opinion. Priti Patel appeared to blame abhorrent criminal gangs, but Mr. Sabatier said the migrants acted on their own initiative and there was no known link with a smuggling network. Of course he did. A French politician blamed the British government for causing their death. See, told you, to try and shame us into taking people that they don't want. Amid continuing talks, aiming to reduce the number of migrants attempting crossings. Stop dealing with effects, will you please? Effect isn't the cause, isn't the issue. Cause is. And cause is the free shit we give to illegal entry from all European countries. We are rewarding criminality, and it appears from what we found in Leicester, slavery. What the actual is going on at the minute? We need to hostile environment. It's the only way, in my opinion. Look to Australia. They managed it. I don't like it, but needs must. We are not the saviour of the world, are we? But let's continue. Pierre-Henri Dumont, who represents Calais in the French National Assembly, said the death was what we all feared, and yet you didn't stop them, did you? How many more tragedies will it take for the British to regain an ounce of humanity? He added. Wow. Back at you, French, eh? How many tragedies will it take the French to stop illegal migration in and out? The inability to apply for asylum in Britain without being physically present is causing these tragedies. Hold on a minute, Mr. Dumont. You have to be in France to apply as well, and Germany, and every other European country. How dare you lie? That's a blatant lie, everyone. We are held to the same international law as every single other country, so you have to be inside the country you apply for asylum for. So to say that entire sentence is the biggest bullcrap I've ever heard in my life. Mr. Dumont said that migrants living in informal camps around Calais, despite a series of forced evictions in recent years, did not want asylum in France and had refused state support. Really? Well, this guy applied for asylum in France and got refused, didn't he? So who's the compassionate ones? Is it us or you? Just a thought. And if you did fail him on asylum, why was he still in France? To be able to make the journey from France. You see where I'm going with that one? Totally incompetent. We shouldn't be giving them any money whatsoever until they start stopping this. A parliamentary report released in November said dire conditions in camps in the area were among the driving factors behind increasing migrant sea crossings. French again then, obviously. Focusing on increasing border security without improving conditions in the region may have the counterproductive effect of forcing migrants to make desperate journeys across the channel, the Foreign Affairs Committee said. You know what the problem is? They've got so many avenues to claim asylum even when they're refused asylum, over and over and over and over again. No one can get rid of them. So if you want anyone to blame for all of this, it's the EU and their legislation, isn't it? They're the ones that are causing all of this. They're the ones that give us 4 different levels of court that you can go through to be denied asylum and still get to stay. The UK should work closely with French authorities to improve the conditions for migrants. No, you should send asylum seekers that fail home. That's what you should do. It should ensure efficient processing instead of palming them off on the next country and then the next and then the next. Processing of asylum claims. But with those relatives in the UK, and make it a priority to maintain close bilateral cooperation with France after Brexit, including on these claims. Now, I'd like to say they need to stop this lie right now. If they were legitimate refugees, i.e. someone that's coming and running from persecution or war, they wouldn't need to break into our country, would they? If they had family here already, they wouldn't need to break into our country, would they? These people are coming in a dinghy that they've nicked from France. In my opinion, all of these sort of articles are totally discrediting the people that we've welcomed through legal routes, that were actual refugees and people being persecuted. Am I wrong on this, though? Family members who have put Mr. Hamdalla's age at 22, more lies then. Oh, the idea was fakely found on him. Anyone getting the feeling that illegal immigration is bringing 100% lifetime criminals? Fake name, fake age, fake papers, stolen goods, international flight from justice. If these are doctors and carers like we were told, I'm never going to hospital again. Reportedly said he had fled the Sudanese state of West Kordofan, which borders the conflict-ridden borders. So he's not from a war-torn area then, isn't it? There you go. Not a refugee, no asylum, home you go. If that borders conflict, that doesn't mean that you're a refugee, does it? Region of Darfur in 2014 before travelling on to Libya and then France via Italy. He is understood to have had his asylum claim in France rejected before attempting to move on to the UK. So he was rejected in France, which means even if he had gotten here, he would have been rejected here after years and years of court, obviously. Because guess what? We're under the same international law that creates this. All European countries have the same process. Also, when does rejection mean go there and try again? If you're rejected in the first country, you have no right to apply anywhere else, in my opinion. But what say you? His older brother, Al-Faith Hamdallah, who remains in Libya, told The Guardian, in France they rejected his case, so he decided to leave to the UK. Great. Well, that just proves he's not a refugee then. He had been living in France for the last 3 years. He wanted to have a better life from the horror we used to live in. But what happened has happened. You noticed how this is a guy that still lives where he started, and he's saying used to live in. So he's no longer war-torn where he came from. See what this story is becoming. This guy lived in France for 3 years, had a Facebook account, nice clothes, but got refused to stay, and immediately goes, sod it, the Brits are daft enough to take me. I'm sorry about the tragedy. It really is a waste of life, in my opinion. But in the same comment, I'd like to say you have no right to come here if you're not a refugee. If you break in my honest opinion, you've given up your right to refugee status, even if you actually are. You've broken in, come the legal routes or not at all. Mr. Hamdallah's death came weeks after the Home Office announced a joint action plan with France and put a former Royal Marine in the post of clandestine Channel Threat Commander, Dan O'Mahony. Can I ask everyone, how's that working out? Yeah, exactly. He met with representatives from France's Interior Ministry, Maritime and Defence officials on Thursday and visited the Calais centre where French and British officials are working to tackle the crossings extremely badly. Mr. O'Mahony said yesterday's incident where a Sudanese migrant lost his life attempting to cross the channel served as a tragic reminder of the vital importance of the work the UK and France are engaged in to make this route completely unviable. Stop housing them in fancy hotels, giving them more stuff than natives get then. That might be a start. Also, I guarantee this guy's plan to fix this is opening the borders for millions. My plan is to stop them even wanting to come over in the first place. Who are you lot with, everyone? Me or him? At meetings I have held in Paris and Calais today, there were positive discussions about enhancing operations with increased surveillance, aerial support, further intelligence sharing and patrols in northern France. I look forward to returning in the coming weeks to progress these discussions. The RAF has sent surveillance aircraft to assist the border farce. Assist what? Mass immigration through other means? Assist maybe rescuing criminals trying to break into our country when we've got a legal process? Assist what exactly, RAF? After the UK gave France millions of pounds to increase security along its coastline. That's worked out well as well, and they want more. The Shadow Home Secretary Nick Thomas Simmons MP said the government's response to rising channel crossings had been lacking in compassion and competence. Why us then, Labour? Why not France's compassion? What about Italy's compassion? Libya? All of them are fine, but we're the ones that lack compassion. Please, your ignorance is shocking. Ministers urgently need to step up work with international partners to find a humanitarian solution to this crisis, which is costing lives, he added. I actually agree with him on that as well. The most humane thing is to send them home to the country they came from, if not a war, like that fella was. If France had done that, he wouldn't have ended up on a French beach, would he? Maurice Wren, chief executive of the Refugee Council, said the tragedy should be a wake-up call for the government. I ask again, Maurice, why us? I'm waiting for an answer. He added, talking tough is putting lives at risk. No, it's not. Talking tough and not doing anything is putting lives at risk. No action is what's doing this. It's time for Britain and France to work together to ensure that no one else needlessly loses their life on these perilous journeys. Stop them trying. Send them home. If their country of origin is not war-torn, send them there. If it was, the first country they hit from there should be the ones that take the refugee status. Everyone else, they've hop, skipped and jumped, haven't they? We should not be the world's saviour. We've done it twice. Safe and regular routes to the UK must be put in place immediately. We've already got them. For people fleeing war and persecution, we already have safe and regular routes. It's called legal migration. If they were legitimate, they wouldn't have to listen to you telling them how to break in, would they? Mr. Hamdallah is one of the at least 5 migrants to have drowned while attempting to cross a channel in the past year. In May, a drowned migrant was found in the port of Calais. 2 were found in Phuket Beach in October and in August 2019, and an Iranian woman drowned. As I said, the channel is one of the busiest channels in the world and it has massive undercurrents. You would be insane to try it, in my opinion. United Nations figures show that more than 19,500 migrants have lost their lives attempting to reach Europe across the Mediterranean Sea since 2014. And yet it's the UK that has no compassion, is it? But the death toll for the English Channel is not formally recorded. The border farce said 164 people travelling on 11 vessels reached the UK on Wednesday with their help, bringing the total for 2020 to almost 5,000. Yep, you heard that, 5,000 this year so far. And out of them, you know how many were actually children that made the journey? You know, considering the media said this one was a child. You know how many? 14%. And yet the media love to push this is all families. It's not. Last week, the UN Refugee Agency called for the British and French governments to make saving lives the first priority. Sending them home would do that, but no, our governments are still concentrating on throwing money at each other and helping 5,000 break our laws. Now, what's my opinion on this? Well, I'm sick of the lefties seeing it as our responsibility for all the world's woes, and that we're disgusting if we can't cope anymore and need to protect our country from mass criminality. I'm sorry, I won't call these people refugees or economic migrants. They're illegals trying to force our borders open after we the people voted in the majority to stop the migration. Great load of good that did, didn't it? Tories just blow hot air out their arse, but not having the balls to actually do something. Dublin Agreement means we can send them all back right now, due to the refugee meaning first safe country they hit, they have to apply there. The Tories have a massive majority. They're just choosing not to use it. We know why Labour wants open borders. They welcome the trouble we're getting. It gives them the power, doesn't it? But anyway, I'd like to know your opinion. Do you think it was France lying, or the media specifically this time? What was she called? Lizzie Dearden, that's it. Activist for the Independent. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Share it out, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.